my channel, Ian's Builds. Before I made any more content, I wanted to preface whatever next video comes out with this clip that basically focuses on thanking any of the friends that help me do what I do with these cars. A few key players in that is the main friends I've had for a few years now. There's a lot of projects where I just wouldn't be able to get things done as quickly, or push a car around, or put a motor in a car and get the swap done all by myself. Some things just need an extra hand, and a few of my close friends are the ones that are always there for me when I call, and sometimes reluctantly they'll show up and help me get something done. It takes 20 minutes and then they'll just leave. But I greatly appreciate them, and those main guys are my buddy Alex, Esteban, and Marino. So those three guys, I really appreciate all the help that you guys give me and helping get these cars done. I feel like a lot of the car channels on YouTube and stuff, you just see that main person that does that channel, but we all know very well that they got their buddies in the background that are doing all this crazy stuff, and they're just helping make these builds happen. So I wanted to make sure that my friends know that they're appreciated, and everyone else knows that I appreciate them as well. Except on the Diablo, they didn't really help with absolutely anything on this car. So everything that I do except this car. After looking at schematics for a while, I think I have it narrowed down. For the C101, 105, and 100 connector that go to the PCM side of the wiring harness, to my knowledge, after looking through the schematics, it looks like most of the pink wires are going to require accessory voltage, and then the orange wire from the C101 is going to need constant. This right here, I'm just going to plug this in. I fuse these, and then I'm going to hook this up to power, and I'm just going to get the motor running. And if I verify this works, the PCM works as it should, then I'm going to route this through the firewall and then tuck this away somewhere. But there aren't many resources for anyone that just runs a stock harness with a stock ECU without 50 miles of wire and stock fuse boxes and everything. I only need like 6 fuses. So I don't need fuses for our Camaro headlights and the Camaro fuel pump and all that stuff. So I'm trying to make this work with just these 3 connectors, and it should work. So fingers crossed. I think we're going to try to crank this thing without the PCM or the fuel pump hooked up. We put new injector O-rings, me and my esteemed colleague Marino again. And then we did the O2 sensor wires. He extended those. I crudely put the MAF in and ran the starter wire, some other stuff. That's all going to clean up later, but we just want to crank this thing. And then once it cranks good, we get some oil in the motor, moving around, then we're going to try to start it. So here goes. No. Well, doggone starter was bad. So I ran to AutoZone and got a built from crap Duracrap one. And might as well test this one really quick before we throw it in. And we have to hurry up and do this because Marino wants to go home and eat some food. And he won't ever get food with me in the garage, so I just get left to die.
I go to bed early, what can I say?
It's Saturday.
I don't care. I still go to bed at like 10 o'clock.
Good thing it's only 6 p.m.
Yeah. This one works. This one will be good.
Yeah, I'm sure that's not aluminum. I think that's paint.
Yeah.
Are we gonna start this thing or what?
Don't ask me. That's the fucking car.
I need a stack.
Just trying to make the car start. Ah. Hello.
Okay, take 6.
So I'm not as clacking.
So my fucking wiring experiment worked. It worked.
7 wires.
I read a bunch of stuff, and I got rid of a ton of 30 pounds of wiring, and it works. So the car runs.
So we're gonna slide it?
Sick. So I marked that as a success. It started first bump. That's awesome. I was skeptical about the wiring because I was just looking at schematics and trying to make it run on those 6 wires, which is awesome. My research worked. Obviously the car is in no shape to be idling for any extended period of time, so I'm gonna tidy all this stuff up, get some coolant in everything, and hook some hoses up because we just wanted to bump it, see if it would idle for a second. So I'm gonna work on getting everything out of the way, make sure it's clear of heat, make sure I don't have any extensive leaks. I did find an oil leak on my oil filter relocation that I have to address. Once I get all that tidy back up, then I'm going to work on getting the car to idle for longer and see how it behaves and see if there's any other leaks after getting the car up to temperature. But that's where we're at right now. So my buddy Alex brought over his N gauge out of his C7. Oh no. Oh, okay. And we plugged it into the OBD2 of the 240. And hopefully it thinks it's a Camaro. Pick different parameters. You can select like 8 plus or 6 plus, I think.
6.
There's IATs, map sensor. I'd love to know oil pressure and coolant. Temp. Honestly, 60 seconds into being in the garage and good old wrench slip and busted my knuckles open, so I keep getting blood on stuff. Never fails. So I bought an inline breaker for the battery. You just press this button, disconnects. So these got kind of mixed reviews. Some were great, some weren't. So I'm gonna try one of these out. I've used other styles in the past that are the twist off, but they're not rated for any amperage. You just turn them off. So I'm gonna put this in line between a few of my power sources, and hopefully they work out. I picked up one of these tools for doing terminal ends.
You basically put your wire in there with your terminal on it, put it on the ground or on your workbench, and then hit it with a hammer. So these things are super handy. It makes a really good connection on your crimps. Obviously it's better for like bigger wire sizes, but it works for smaller ones too. Let's see if I can set this up. So set it up like that. Give it a whack. Basically makes a V shape. Press and slide your heat shrink over that. And it's ridiculously strong. So the breaker is in. Now if I want to hook the car up and supply it power, just flip that lever. If I want to kill power, and just press that. I'll tidy these up, tuck them, and then I'll put some wire loom covers over them. And then moving on over here. So this is going to be my relay box, which is controlled by that switch panel right there. So I just got to run those wires in through the firewall and into these. And these are individually fused for every button. So this is going to control the fans, ECU, fuel pump, etc. So I got to hook this up. This gets switched power for ignition, and this is your ground for the box. And then the fuse panel in and of itself has a large power cable that I went to the battery, which is also fused by that breaker. So essentially this is my wiring harness to run the car. These three plugs, as I showed you guys earlier, the C100, 105, and 101. This was just my crude, rough, quick setup to get it to start. So now I'm going to reduce it, trim it to size, clean it up, and heat shrink it, and get this thing in the car. Okay, just wrapped up the harness for the car. This is the one that was like 7 feet long. So here's the three plugs that will supply power to the harness and PCM. These are the excess, not used. I am not 100% sure. I'm not going to use any of these. Some might contain some signal wires that I might tap into later. So I went ahead and heat shrinked every single terminal end just in case the PCM supplies these with like a 5-volt signal or something. I just didn't want to take a chance. He's touching ground. I labeled every wire according to the schematic and put it in a loom. It goes over to my fuse box. Every single one is fused. I have to change these fuses out to the appropriate one. Some are 20, some are 15, some are 10. This is a tack signal wire, which I'm not 100% sure I can tie into this yet. This is the one that gets battery positive signal out of all of them. So this one's going to go directly to battery with a fuse. This will go to my relay box. So when I hit my relay control box switch, it will supply power to the entire harness and PCM through this, and they'll all be fused. This is my ground, so this is just going to mount to the chassis somewhere. So pretty happy with this. This is all going to get tucked up into the floorboard, and this will mount to the right side kick panel of the passenger floor. I got a ton done. Pretty much wrapped up the ECU side of that wiring that was draped all over. Now I would like to wire in the stock starter relay. So that way when I use the ignition key in this car, it will cycle forward and use the starter on the LS. So I believe the relay inside the car goes to here, which says nothing about a starter or anything. It's called the clutch ASCD cut. I believe it to be that terminal there when you cycle key forward for the starter to supply power to it. So I just put the probe in there, put my key in, check my multimeter, and when I cycle the key forward, I get 12.4 volts. So I'll likely use that terminal to start the car. I was gonna do like a push button or something, but I think I prefer the stock key. So this is right off the LS harness, right there. So this, I just cut this off of the chassis side of a Camaro, and then I will just hook the end of this into that terminal that I just showed you. So when I cycle the key forward, it'll send signal to the starter and it'll start the car. And there's my new fuse box that runs the harness. And then I will clean all that up and put it up into the dash area once I get the ECU reflashed with the revised startup tune. I also I had one more remaining fuse slot on here, which whole thing is going to be accessory ignition power. And I just ran a wire here into the radio area, and then this will power my gauges. So I probably have a few gauges in here: oil pressure, water temp, a few others. Well, after a few hours of wiring, I got most of this tidied up. Gonna secure a couple more things, and I'm just waiting on like another fuse holder. But the car should, when you cycle the key forward to accessory mode, it'll supply power to my relay box, and then I can turn on fuel, and then one of these is ECU. Some are empty, and I should be able to start the car. So we're back in here in the garage with Alex, and he brought over his GTO covers, and they fit surprisingly well. These were meant for the LS2.
Yep.
LS2. They don't exactly snap in where they should, so I have to modify it a little bit, but probably shave the GTO off and 3D print like a Nissan badge, and I think it would look super cool. But I like that a lot. Also got the replacement Molly piston for the 911 because the other one was broken, so this can start getting reassembled again, which is perfect because I got so much done on the LS car that I can go back to working on the 911. And Alice can do something instead of standing around talking all day.
My favorite thing to do.
Okay, well, we just cobbled together the coolant hoses on the LS car. So those are finally hooked up. We're short on coolant, of course, and it's drive shaft time, which I've been procrastinating because the old drive shaft doesn't really want to come out. It's just the flange bolts that mount to the diff are super stubborn, so we're probably gonna have to put some MAP gas to them, heat them up a little bit, but it's super close to the gas tank, so that sounds super safe. So if this is the last you hear from us, this video wouldn't make it to the light of day anyway, so maybe we'll make it, maybe we won't. So here. All right, we're under the car now, since the Porsche is on the hoist, and this sucks. This took a bunch of MAP gas to get these off without blowing ourselves up. Marino handed me tools cautiously and carefully, and now I have to take this bearing off in this other bracket, which is probably not going back on. Then we'll have a drive shaft. The only thing left to make this thing drive is a brake caliper. And drive shaft's in. We're gonna wait till my hoist is available to drop this diff and weld it. But it fit great. Shout out to Shaft Masters. And it's exhaust time now that the drive shaft's done. That's the ISR Y pipe. And then this is just cheaper exhaust, and I wonder what the LS would sound like if we left that in there. We should probably start it with it in there. Yeah, let's start with it in there. I don't know, dude. Like, it's not enough free-flowing action in there. I'm gonna blow the oil cap off. Oh, and then we're gonna do some suspension stuff. I'm gonna change out the inners and outers, replace some bolts, do 300ZX brake upgrade. Ooh, we should go to O'Reilly's and pick those up.
What?
I have the Z32 calipers, brakes, rotors, and I think I have the lines in the race trailer as a spare for the drift car. All right, the exhaust is in, and the fitment kind of sucks on it. So I'm gonna have to weld a flex into it later once I have the hoist available. But for now, we're gonna start it with this silencer in there. See what it sounds like.